Hi, Eric here from Neon Static. I thought I'd take a little time and do a Tech Trader segment, which is what I'm calling these new tip videos that I'm going to try and put out on, in this case, going to be teaching Davinci Resolve, a little bit of what I've learned about Davinci Resolve, enough to do something that people in the Netrunner community might commonly want to do in their videos. I did a very similar video using Adobe After Effects and Premiere previously. I'll put a link in the description to that if you are a user of that software. But I thought I would show how to do a card overlay in Davinci Resolve. And as I learn how to do more cool little things, I might make short videos on this, because Davinci Resolve, at least at the time that I'm making this, and it has been for a while, is free to use. There's a free version and then a studio version that costs right now one fixed price you pay. I think it's like $300 right now. And then you would buy it for some features that are mostly for pro editors. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump in. So we're in Davinci Resolve 19 right now. 20 is in beta, but that's the version I'm on right now. We're just going to start an untitled project. And it opened in the wrong window, of course. So here's our project. A brief overview here. There's a media, cut, edit, fusion, color, Fairlight, and deliver pages. These are different modes that the program works in. Media is for browsing through your media. Most of the time, we're going to be between the edit and the fusion tabs here to do this job that we're interested in. Then deliver is where you export the video. We're going to do something where a card flies in from the bottom of the screen up into the top, and then pauses there for a while and comes back down, and we're going to make something that's reusable, that you won't need to do this over and over again when you do it. So to start, we're going to go over here under Effects to Fusion Composition. We're going to drag that onto our timeline here on the Edit page. This is the same thing as an After Effects comp in After Effects, if you're familiar with that. If this effects panel isn't here for you, where you can find this fusion composition, you can go up to Workspace, Show Panel in Workspace, and the Effects area needs to be checked, which of course I just unchecked. Anyway, we're going to drag there. We're going to make sure our playhead is somewhere over this thing, and we're going to go to Fusion. And now we have a blank composition. There's some things that you need to understand about how things work in here to get started. This media out is basically, if you put anything into this media out, this node system, where you drag and drop nodes and you connect nodes to create something here. That is all, anything that goes into this media out is what will display on this side. And right now it just says no frame available from media out 1, because there's nothing going in there. We can change that by simply adding this background. I'm dragging from this background node here, creating a background node. And if I just connect it by clicking and dragging onto the yellow input, that's media out 1.input was this thing. Now we have a black background. You can see over here in the inspector panel that the color is black. Right? We can make this whatever color we want. That's not how you make it a color. There you go. It has blue, and now you can see if we go back to our edit page, this thing is blue. And when we leave the fusion composition with a playhead, it changes colors. But we don't want a blue background. We want a transparent background. And that is, in video parlance, it's the alpha matte. So we're going to pull this alpha matte all the way down to 0. And we're going to change the color back to black. So leave it at black. And then, on this edit page, it's showing checkerboxes. So my background here is showing checkerboards. By default, it will show black, and that is here under Viewer Background Black, this little timeline view icon here. This is just going to change what the alpha channel is represented with, meaning this is the transparent. If it's showing checkerboard, then it's see-through. It's transparent. So the next thing we need is we're going to use Shift Space. And of course, it came up on the other screen. It's this little window, the select tool window comes up, and we're going to type in loader. We're going to get a loader module. And then it's going to bring up, bringing up the directory that I had recently selected in here. We're going to use Airblade as an example, but it's going to be an image. Now, that's not showing anywhere because, let's take a step back real quick. To preview anything in the Fusion page, you can click on a thing and type in 2 or 1. If you hit the 1 or 2 button, there's 2 preview panes I have up here and they let you kind of view two things at once. I could choose this to view. You can see this little white dot saying this node's contents are being displayed or previewed in the left panel here, and then Airblade here is in the right, or as I hit the buttons, they'll move there. But we want to get this to the media out, so you might think just click this and drag it over there, in which case if we go back to the edit page, great, we have Airblade there, but we want the background to be merged. So the way we can do that is either to add a merge node, which we can do shift space. Again, it came up on my other screen. Merge, you can do that manually, or you can take the output of two nodes and drag them together, and we'll automatically create a merge. Now, to get rid of this guy, we just grab the yellow arrow, pull it away, and let go. And now these two things are merged. Now, on a merge, the order that you connect the two media sources or the nodes and the inputs matters. There's a foreground. If you hover over here, merge one.foreground and merge one.background. And if we pull this to the outside and look at the media out and go back to the edit page, you'll notice that the size here got a little wonky. That's good though, in this case, because if you hover over the merge, you can see in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, it says frame size 1920 by 1080, because that's what my project file, project settings right now, this is set to be a 1080p video. So that's what the default frame size is. That's good, that's what we want, but we want Airblade to be smaller. Now, if you had changed background, and if you had hooked the background up to the foreground and the image to the background, whatever's going into the background, I believe, will dictate the size of the merge node on the way out. So the order there matters. It's one of the things that I noticed learning how to use this program. Okay, so we need Airblade to be smaller. The way we do that, right here, this transform node, you can drag that right down. And if you drag, see how if you drag it onto the line, it turns blue. If you let go, it'll automatically do that and connect them. So the transform, if you click this transform node and go over to the inspector panel up here, and if this is not showing, then you can click inspector. There's size as one of the arguments here. You can drag that down. And now we're viewing the transform, but we probably want to be viewing, oh, this is actually the media out. We are viewing the media out. There. If we go back to the transform and drag this down, we can see, great, we have that, let's say 0.4 is where we want to be for our size. So we go back to edit there. That's the size of the image that we'd see in the video. So we're getting there. The next thing we want to do is add some keyframes and move this thing around. So if you drag your red cursor playhead here, this is kind of showing where you are within the Fusion comp, within this timeline. So if we go to Fusion, we go to the drag it far left. If you drag this yellow playhead, yellow playhead here, this is where the in and out is for the looping. So if I hit play, it'll go from this point, these two yellow bars, and loop. So we can stop it there. Let's drag it to the start. Let's go to 10 frames in, and we'll hit a keyframe on the transform node. You can keyframe all these properties. So if we go to the transform node and hit a keyframe on center Y, and then we move back to the beginning and drag this down off screen. Let's say, I don't know, just there is fine. Then if we hit play, then we'll see that the Airblade image comes up, and it doesn't look the best. Also, if you want to see a more detailed view of this, you just click on the viewer here, and this is the viewer to go split screen, and then you got to go click it to get back. You have to click all these things. Oh boy. Look at me demoing. I'm demoing good. There it is. I haven't mastered exactly why that doubles up sometimes. Anyway, here's our image, a little bit bigger. And you can also fit to screen that way, or zoom in this way if you want. Great. So we want to ease this. It's called easing. We want to smooth this motion out a little bit. And the way we do that is by going to our, see, actually you can see this little white tick mark here is showing where one of the keyframes is. To change those, we're going to use the spline panel. So if you click on spline, it's a little funny. If you hit the this zoom to fit button, you'll see all of our keyframes. In this case, we just have these two. If you have a lot going on, you can deselect certain ones of them. We don't need to worry about that here because we literally only have 2 keyframes, and it's on this transform node. You can go down and see that it's on the displacement property. So if we select these two and use the keyboard shortcut F, it's going to flatten the curves. You can see these 2 lines popped up. Then if we hit play, see that it's a little smoother. This is hard to look at. There we go, because it keeps moving, but it's a little bit smoother now. But we want to even smooth it more than that. And before we do that, let's go back to the edit page under the transform effect, the fusion page, and we'll get rid of spline. We'll go to the transform node under settings. We'll click motion blur. We'll increase the quality to like 5. That seems good. Shutter angle should generally always be at 180, unless you're trying to do something special there. And then you can make other changes there with like using your GPU to do this stuff. But so with that in place, so we hit play, you can see there is some motion blur on that. And that's cool. But let's smooth it even more. Some cool things you can do in the easing on the spline panel. So if we go to zoom to fit again, if you hit T, the keyboard shortcut T, and you'll see this ease in, ease out pops up. I don't know why that's not there by default. I wish it was. If you select these 2 nodes, zoom out a little bit with a control scroll wheel. Also, if you're, generally speaking, if you're trying to look around in here, mouse center button will take the hand and you can kind of pan things around. Same thing in the fusion panel. If you're trying to look around here, the center wheel on your mouse moves that around and you can see things that way. So back to the spline. You can always just grab these 2 and then drag ease in. In will be the right one and out will be the left one. And then you can change things that way. And this is like something you can just play with to see, how much do you want. Let's ease it a lot in so it'll come up faster, but then slow down. I kind of like that. That's one way you can do this. Then let's say, so we've got the ease in, but we want to go ease back out. You can select both of these, scroll out to where you want it to be. And I want this to be, let's see, by default, this is, looks like it's 8 seconds long. That's good. So we'll go to the end, move our playhead down here. We copied the nodes there with a Control C, and we'll just click Control V, and it won't work. Great. Let's try it again. Copy, move it over here, click on there to create a node, Control V. Now, if you hit V here, it will mirror them. You can also see that if you zoom in up here on reverse, you'll see V. So if you do that, then it creates the inverse of the motion we already had established. Zoom to fit here. Now we can see it moves in. And if we take the playhead all the way out, zooms in, plays through this section here, and then comes back down. Okay? So that's what we got going on here so far. Now, how do we make this reusable? Let's get out of the spline. I'm happy with the keyframing, and move this back over. If you're within a project and you just want to reuse this without doing anything extra special, you can just copy this fusion composition with Control C, click somewhere else you want, and then click here. Because we used a loader, you can click into the fusion panel, click on that air blade, and right here you can browse for a new image, or if you have the folder open, like I tend to do, I have just the folder of all my PNG images that you can get from the Null Signal Creative Portal here. You can just drag an image right onto the file name here. And now we have a Shestushka that comes in. And of course, I'm not doing a good job of showing this, but we can grab, let's say we grab some art, some cool NSG art. Let's take Manuel de Laches de Mora and drag that here underneath, and we'll go to the zoom factor here and zoom it in so it's covering the whole image, and maybe move it down, change the Y position of the image there. Great. And then this will come up over it. Right. And if you wanted to, you could do even more things. So right now it's kind of no separation in the background. You can go to the Fusion panel. And let's do a couple more tricks. First thing's very basic. Shift space again to bring up the dialog to select a new node. And you can go to here and say drop shadow. So we'll add a drop shadow. If you hover over here and it's not connecting, if you hold shift, it will do that and connect the two. So now we have a drop shadow. It's a little hard to see there, but you can see it along the right side here. You can make it more defined if you'd like. This second one won't have the drop shadow because we only affected the one. So then you would need to go change that. So if you're not interested in exporting to a template, which I'll show you how to do in a minute, you need to do this all in one. I would recommend doing one, making sure you're happy with it, and then copying that and just changing the image. Because again, whichever one the playhead is over is what you'll see in Fusion. So if I'm over this one, you'll see there's the drop shadow node. If I move the playhead here, even though this is selected, if I go to Fusion, I'm now looking at the Chestushka one. Okay, so let's go back here. Another thing that you could do that's kind of neat is there's drop shadow. There's this thing called shift space digital video effects, DVE. If you drag that onto here, and you can move these wherever, the arrows will like make themselves work. And I have a grid enabled so that it's all nice and tidy here. But this DVE lets you do fake 3D effects, so you can pivot, you can move position, Z axis, Z move, so you can kind of go past the camera. You can pivot on the, well, not pivot, we want to rotate on the Y axis here. Obviously flipping it doesn't quite do that, but let's say if we wanted to come in from the side, you could do that. You could tilt it up or down this way. You can rotate on the Z axis so it's spinning, because that's fun. Anyway, DVE is a thing that you can do. You can keyframe this and have it go back and forth. A neat thing you can do here, actually, let's try this. Let's say at the beginning of the playhead, well, once the image is up here, maybe at 10 frames in, we'll keyframe. I suppose we'll do it from the beginning. Let's figure out what our value is first. Let's keyframe there, minus 6. So we go to the beginning, we'll type in -6, great, and we'll keyframe it. Then we'll say at 30, we'll go to +6. Whoops. 6. I'm good at typing. So now it should have gone, if we watch it, it should rotate from left to right. If we can, oh, I'm typing in the Z axis instead of playing. There, you can see it rotates. Then we can go into the spline editor. We can deselect the displacement one because we don't want to see that anymore. This one, though, we can zoom to fit these. Whoa, that did not zoom to fit very well. Can we, do I have to deselect everything else? The transform, then we do zoom to fit. There we go. So this we will flatten again, because generally speaking, easing any of these transitions looks better than if you don't. So let's look at what that does. Great. Now, I believe, I haven't done this before, I'm doing it on the fly, which is a little dangerous. You can copy, select these two, right click, and there should be a looping menu down here. That's what this, set loop, set ping pong, set relative, reverse. So I think that we can just say ping pong, set ping pong, and then this will just go back and forth forever as long as this is up. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I don't know if this is an effect that I would necessarily go for. But now that's just built into the DVE node. It's just going to be doing that the whole time. So it comes up, it's going to rotate back and forth. Doesn't matter how long the clip is. We don't need to make a million keyframes. It's just going to loop automatically, and then it's going to come back down. Right, so that's our new thing. So let's say we're very happy with this. You can do other things like outlines and glow effects. I could do space here and go glow. I think I downloaded this extra one, this X glow. That'll slow things way down, so we're not going to do that. But we could add a glow node to the whole thing. And this would go on the actual image, I think. I think if we did it here, the whole... Yeah, well, this is okay. Everything's glowing, right? Again, not sure this is the best effect. You might want to do it on the outside only, which you can do with some matting and things. I'm not going to go into that right now. Let's say we're happy with this. We can take all of this stuff and package it up to use it anytime we open the program very easily from the edit page. We don't even need to go into Fusion. And the way you do that is you select everything in here except media out. You right click under macro. You can say insert, like surely this time. This was me trying to figure out how to make this work. You go under create macro. It'll bring up this dialog, which is very intimidating. The only thing that you need to make sure that you have here is that anything that you want to change, anything that you want to be able to tweak later, you want to have checked off here. So say in your transform node, if we go find transform one, and renaming things in here will pay dividends. I didn't rename anything, but you can say, let's close this thing for now. Nope, sorry, close that. So background, we can do F2 here and type in alpha. This is our alpha. And then Airblade thing here, we'll type in loader or maybe image. Image. Transform, this is our movement. So we'll say movement. Merge doesn't matter. Drop shadow, we can say shadow. This is a good example of shadow. DVE. You know, I can say 3D if you don't remember what. Oh, apparently you can't do 3D underscore 3D. And then media out. Let's do that again. Let's select them all. Go to macro, create macro. Now you can see all those names are reflected here. So image, one thing that we definitely want is clip. Under file, clip. If that is selected, then you'll be able to replace the image later from outside of this node, from outside of Fusion. So then we'll do save as. And now this is important. I don't know what it is for a Mac user, but on Windows, in the app data roaming folder, so if you go to your start menu, if you do Windows R and you bring up this and do %app data %, it'll bring you to the folder on your machine where this path is. So that's the starting path from roaming, Blackmagic Design, Davinci Resolve, support, Fusion, macros down here. That's macros. Now, that is saving the settings and the checkboxes that are here. So if I save macros here, this is just going to be, card tutorial demo. Great, we'll do that. That didn't actually save the macro that we want. We want to go to save as, go up to Fusion, go to templates, edit, titles. It's got to be in titles. If it's in effects or generators, it won't work, and I'll show you why. You can put them there, but they work differently. So I saved a bunch of things in here, and I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. If you go into titles, I have my card flying left. This is card tutorial demo. Saves it as a .setting file, save. Great. Now here under the edit, I'm not sure if it'll show up or not. Tutorial under titles. There it is. Card tutorial demo. Now if we drag this on to the timeline, so let's delete this one. We get, and I'm not sure how to make this by default the right length, right? Because it's got to be at least this long, otherwise the card fly off won't happen. But now this happens, and the card is packaged up within this thing, and you can just drop that in anytime, and this is saved off for you now. It looks like the image actually didn't come through, so I didn't grab the right setting in Fusion. Let's see if we can figure that out very quickly. If we drag this back and grab the whole thing and do macro, create macro. I think we can actually file load. We can open the previous macro. No, we don't want to save changes. We'll go up to card tutorial demo. This is what I'm saying. It saves the settings, so you don't need to go check all the boxes again. I thought it was clip. Okay, so this time we're gonna try this one more time. I think if you click the output on the image here, that means to the macro that the media out stage should be the output of this macro, this node right here, and it'll just output the image itself, which is not what we want. So we don't want to click that. The output should be the farthest right thing. This 3D should have, if we find that in this tree, 3D, that is checked as the output. Okay, so that's an important thing that we want to have. Make sure that whatever the farthest right node is before media out, whatever that thing's output is what we actually want. We'll add the proxy file name here, and I don't think there was another one. Format name. It's one of those, and then we'll save, and then we'll save as and bring it into that special folder again. Templates, edit. Titles, demo 2, and close this. You don't need to close that. Actually, you can keep it open. But now if we go to titles and we find there's demo 2 and pull it in and bring this cursor over here, now it is file name. I'm not sure why that didn't show up before, but now we can go to our folder that has our images and just drag this directly onto file name, and it replaces the image. And Bob is your uncle. Now look, by default, it's going to stop right there. You do need to drag this out. There is a way. I'm not sure how yet. I haven't figured out how to make this default to the right size, but it's not too hard to drag it in, change the image as sort of your template. It's going to drop out there, so we can trim it back to about that long. Now you can just copy and paste this thing wherever you want. You can even do multiples of them. So here, if we wanted to do 2 cards at once, we could take this card and use the settings page here, change the position. You can drag this one to the left. You can take this card here and drag it to the right and change it to whatever you like under the titles section, Aesop's Pawn Shop. And now this card should come in, and then next to it, another card on the right comes up. There we go. And they'll drop out. And our background image dropped out as well. So hopefully that's useful. Again, this is a free program. It's really powerful. I'm barely scratching the surface of what you can do with this program. If you are a person looking to create content like me, hopefully this is helpful, and maybe it might even help you become free from the tyranny of subscription-based editing program software. You know who you are. Okay, thanks a lot, everybody. Remember to run with your eyes closed into editing software, because what you don't know will make you'll figure it out. You'll do great. Bye.